So, grippers, 90 pounds, easy. Now, 150 pounds, easy. And by the way, Paulin is training me. He's telling me to train with grippers because Paul is a big believer in grippers. He believes that these are the most essential, vital training equipment that you need if you want to be a pro arm wrestler. So, 200 pounds is what we have here. Yep. I can do that. 300 pounds, not quite there, but Paul tells me that if I can close this one, I can beat him in arm wrestling. So let's see. Still a
I'm in
centimeter.
trouble.
Yeah, yeah, big
I'm
trouble.
in trouble.
So I'm getting this. Going to close this before I show up at East versus West. So Paul, thank you very much for this training guidance about grippers. What are your thoughts about it?
Oh man, they're the best thing ever created for arm wrestling. Not at all. Not at all. Everything Pradeep just said there is like the polar opposite of what I believe. So, matter of fact, Pradeep was talking about buying training equipment and maybe getting some over here, and I'll bring them to him in Istanbul. And he said about
You
grippers,
mean
and I was like,
grippers?
no, yeah, no. There's so many better things than grippers.
But why do you
No.
think? Why do you think so?
So there's a lot of, I mean, listen, having a strong hand is a good thing, right? So, how can it not aid in arm wrestling? The problem is anatomically, when you want a max effort on a gripper, number one, there's all kinds of like positioning things and technique involved in it and all this good stuff. And naturally, the finger flexors, when it comes to squeezing, are stronger with an open wrist. So when you max effort squeeze one of those things, your wrist is naturally going to go back. And it's one of those mind muscle connection things where, yeah, that's where you're strongest, right there. You don't want to get at the arm wrestling table and just go like that and already give your wrist up. So when you talk about like the elite arm wrestlers who use grippers, um, Mr. John Brzenk, obviously he does squeeze grippers, but he squeezes them with full wrist flexion. Predominantly, a lot of times the stronger point is through the bottom two for containment. So like that one right there is the only one, in my opinion, worth really fooling with. You really want to be able to you're much less strong here. And if you ever try and close a gripper, you'll feel it right away.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Tim Bresnan uses them too, but again, the bottom two and with wrist flexion, a lot of reps. And if you take it to another step and look at what arm wrestlers actually squeeze in the setup, the first person that comes to mind is Travis Bajan. He makes a fist and he squeezes. He believes in fattening the hand and forcing your opponent to hang on to you, which is a great concept. But does Travis Bajan use grippers? No, he uses a towel or a pillow and he squeezes that thing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 times a day. And if you've ever done that, I actually do it at night. I do 300 or 400 reps at night just while I'm watching TV. It does give you a great pump and it makes you, when you do that and you flex your wrist a little bit, it's a whole different ball game.
I wanted to ask one thing, Paul. Like with most of the arm wrestlers, I somewhat agree with them on this topic, and some things that I do not agree with. Everyone, and you also mentioned that topic, everyone mentions this part like the wrist tends to go back. It needs to go back when you're squeezing grippers,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a good thing for arm wrestling. But with this logic, we shouldn't be doing bench presses either. Like you cannot really do a bench press like this. Like GM press, Todd Hutchings does that, but bench press, your wrist also slightly goes back. So what about that?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It all depends on where you put the bar. Now, I battle with this training kids because there's a lot of kids who naturally want to put the bar up here in their hand. And when you're allowing that wrist extension like that, you're number one, you're changing the plane that the bar moves in, and you're also adding an extra stress into your wrist. So for me, when I bench press, the bar goes right here. It goes in the heel of my hand, and my hand is slightly turned in. So like when I grab that bar and I go thumb over, my wrist is straight. I mean, there's different ways to do it, but a lot of times you'll see people use the suicide grip thumb over for that exact reason.
So, is there any benefit to them? Like, one thing that I like to believe in my own mind is that it may help you when you're trying to prevent your opponent from slipping. Like, if there is someone who can squeeze
Sure.
the COC3, COC 3.5.
Yeah.
I think even if you're an experienced arm wrestler and he's not, you are going to have a difficult time slipping against him. Is that true?
For sure. Well, I mean, finger strength is finger strength, right? And strength is never a weakness in any way, shape, or form, as long as you can train it to work in your style. Look at Tobias Barone, for example. I mean, we saw all those videos he did with the, he's unbelievable. His grip strength is unreal. He's also an elite arm wrestler, and I think he has the understanding of how to use that to his advantage. And he probably, I mean, I don't know, did we see anybody do any numbers higher than this guy? I mean, I don't think I
Vitali
did.
only.
Vitaly? Okay. So I mean it's definitely not a disadvantage to have strong fingers. But I mean I go back to like what do I see in grip sport, right? Like my good friend Lucas Raymond at Arm Assassin Strength Shop, he started in grip sport and arm wrestling around a similar time. And Lucas has incredible grip strength, but a lot of those pinch grips and things that he's doing is done with your wrist open. And to this day, Lucas, even though Lucas is a very high level arm wrestler, he still at times tends to lose this and has to pull without his hand. So I think it's less about the strength you're developing and more about like that mind muscle connection to be able to apply that to arm wrestling. And then you take like the polar opposite when you're talking about grip strength. And I go back to Storm Chilino. He's a freak. He has naturally strong hands. He doesn't train grip sport at all. He can go to a grip sport event. He set national records just showing up, so he can close these things and pick up inch dumbbells and stuff, and nobody knows why because he doesn't train it. So you can definitely make it stronger. And I think you can use that finger strength and apply it to arm wrestling for sure. But when you talk about like efficiency and like containing your opponent's hands, they're like the finger strength, associated with shelving pressure and static shelf containment. I think that there's a lot more efficient ways to get it.
Mm-hmm. And since you mentioned Tobias Sporong, we have seen kind of a trend like these guys who have great grip strength. There is a trend that these are the ones that are against difficult to slip up against because
Oh yeah.
Vitaly Laritin, like in the third or fourth round, Dave was kind of running away and Vitaly was
Mm-hmm.
chasing him, like just pressing him
Mm-hmm.
down to the pad. Artem Morozov, round one, tries to do something against the hand of Tobias Sporong, cannot. He has to just
Mm-hmm.
bail away and get to
Mm-hmm.
the straps and put him in a hook. I think it's the same for many people. Like maybe it is a slight carrier, but what would you say? Like if I'm sitting on my couch not doing anything, and one day I decide to do grippers like every other day for almost like 5 6 months, am I going to get any better on the table if compared to like if I'm not doing anything else on the table or in the gym?
I think your fingers are going to get stronger, but then if you're not doing anything else for arm wrestling, how well are you going to be able to apply it?
Hmm.
Is your and if your fingers are super strong yet your wrist is not, again, we have that chain that starts at your fingers and works its way down. This is the starting point, right? But this is the next one. So you can squeeze and keep somebody's hand in there, but your wrist still goes. So it's really about like what is the weakest link in your chain and where do you want to focus your training. And for me, again, like using something like a thin diameter wrist wrench or a multi spinner, that is going to give me a finger strength along with wrist flexion. So at least I'm killing two birds with one stone, being a little bit more efficient.
Hmm. And how much can you close? Like which COC number or how much
I'm
on the grip?
terrible. I'm terrible. Who's the guy that did the numbers over there? Is that Issa?
Yeah.
Issa has the thing. I don't know. My numbers weren't. I'm terrible. But like I wasn't. I don't know. I want to say I don't remember what the number was. It wasn't terrible. I wasn't like the worst one. But
Okay.
no, I'm not good at
Did you
that
do,
stuff. I'm
did you
not good
do
at
more
grip
than
sport either.
Michael or less than Michael?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
Maybe,
I would
maybe
think. I would think Michael would do more than me, but I don't know.
then you
I don't
are
know.
terrible at this. If you cannot
Yeah.
do more than Michael, then you're
What did
bad
he
at this.
do? What did he do?
I,
Maybe
I
I'm
I'm not
wrong.
sure, but I remember a few videos. I maybe I think this is the most the 200 pounds one is the most Michael
Mhm.
can do. I would guess like a little bit more than that maybe.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I did buy some of them things when I first got started, like 6 years ago.
Mhm.
They're sitting in like my office drawer at work. Yeah, I haven't touched them in years.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. Maybe I did 200 pound one. I don't know.
Mhm. So
Definitely not a 300.
so guys, Do train with grippers every day. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But Paul,
The
but Paul,
moral of the story is Pradeep can close a captain's a crush higher than me, so he's got me beat there.
I think I'll be close to like closing a 2.5. Maybe I would
Okay.
say 70% chance I won't get it. Maybe a 20-30% chance I can get it. But I'm somewhere around 2.25 range in terms of grippers. So,
Okay.
do you know any like elite grip level arm wrestler speaking against grippers? Like this is one thought that just came to my mind when you said like you are personally not really good at grippers. Like everyone
Mhm.
who is speaking against them, are they actually? Is there anyone who is good? Like here's the COC3, I can close it, and grippers are shit. I've never seen that.
I don't know. You'd have to ask. I think I want to say Derek Smith can close
3.5, he
like,
can close a 3.5.
yeah. I don't know what his opinion is on it, is how it associates to arm wrestling. I'm not sure, but I know Lucas is very strong understanding that it doesn't
Yeah.
really apply,
Mm-hmm.
and that's coming from somebody who's got equal time in both sports.
All right, so guys, I think one thing I can conclude from this conversation is that if you train for grippers, maybe you can expect a 5% increase in your game, and that too is outside of straps. Inside the straps, I don't think it makes any difference. So a very
Not
very
much.
little difference. And one good thing is that these do not make your arms or fingers sore. So you can train it in the off time, but do not expect any results from it. Anything else that you want to add, Paul?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. And yeah, moral of the story is I love grippers. Go buy
Yeah.
them.
Thanks for your time, Paul. And please subscribe to Paul Lynn's channel. Link will be in the description. Thanks, brother.